Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The Cleveland Indians are looking to party at Napoli's, just like they did back in 2016 when the veteran slugger Mike Napoli came to the Tribe, trying to get a season or two to wrap up his solid MLB career. He did it, and for sure the Indians would have never gotten to the World Series against the Chicago Cubs without Napoli's 34 home runs and 101 runs batted in. Once again, the team is looking for lightning in a bottle as they sign Hanley Ramirez over the weekend to a minor league contract. The 35-year-old has not played in the big leagues since May of last year. He most definitely will be a designated hitter, could play first in an emergency. If he somehow could go back in a time machine and go back 3 or 4 years, and if Carlos Santana could play solidly in left field, the Indians might have solved one of their problems. I wouldn't bet on it, but then again, I wouldn't have bet there would have been many parties at Napoli's. Terry Pluto is here. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night. It's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year. And, of course, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Exclusively on cleveland.com. And the plain dealer, of course, is Terry Pluto, the 10-time Sports Writer of the Year in the state of Ohio. And you up in the running again for the 11th?
I don't know.
What do they do? Just send you an email and say congratulations?
Hey, when you're in double figures, of course.
Double figures in anything.
The first baseball game I covered was Aber Doubleday, right after the Battle of Shiloh, I think, in the Civil War, which is where they played some form of baseball.
The very dead ball era.
Very dead ball era, yes.
You can reach us at 216-575-0403.
Hanley Ramirez was in that game.
Well, maybe. You can also email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. All right, Terry, let's talk some football. The Combine is with us. We're not, the date of the Combine was kind of etched in stone in all of our minds in previous years, not so much this year.
Because not only will the Browns basically ignore the quarterbacks unless they want somebody in the lower rounds, they also won't be looking for a running back because they've got several, probably too many. And, receiver, they could look at one of those, but my sense is they probably will go after a veteran receiver instead, and they might take one lower in the draft. And so we'll be talking about things that, frankly, are boring. Defensive linemen, linebackers.
Offensive linemen.
You need them to win and so on. But it's just hard to, go on and on about this guy's a really good run stopper after you say he's a really good run stopper.
It's kind of interesting to me that in the past, the Browns needed the first, second, and third rounds to get guys to start. Mm-hmm. And now you get to the third round and say, all right, where can we fill in with somebody here? I think that's the approach.
And here's one of the things. Joe Banner told me this, and, they did all these stats on things. Now, the first 2 rounds, it's a very high percentage of those guys become starters. But how about this, Les? More guys who are undrafted free agents in most given years become starters than third-round picks.
Why is that? I'd never heard that stat.
He had some numbers on it, and now granted, there's a bigger pool to pick from because there's hundreds of undrafted free agents.
Right.
Nonetheless, you would think that so you're talking 7 times. You're basically talking guys that were not among the top 220 selected, and they're still doing better than third rounders.
But in that case, they're drafting for need. All of these teams, when their number comes up, it has to kind of match up with the guy who's available to start. And once everybody everybody who's going to be taken is taken, then you look over and then you just cherry pick what you need.
I mean, on a good team, the third rounder starts about 20% of the time or less. That was the other number he had. Bad teams, it's a little more just because you're bad and you're trying to fill in. So will be interesting to see how that plays with the Browns. But I think the more significant moves are going to be Look, we know John Dorsey likes to trade. He'll probably make some trade again right before free agency dawns. I think that's March 12th or 13th. And then see what he does on the free agent market. Here's the great thing, Les. They still are the third most cap room in the NFL. I think it's 70-some million. Fans complain about that. But that allows you to, whether it's sign free agents or, sign your own guys up, you aren't restricted like a lot of these teams are.
Okay, so some news out of Browns camp. A couple news items today. Number one is Greg Robinson, who was the second pick in the draft a couple of years ago, has re-signed with the Browns. Good move?
Oh, sure, and they got him on a one-year contract. And once he settled in, well, like you said, started the final 8 games at tackle, and they allowed only 5 sacks. Whereas that first half when Desmond Harrison was playing and everything. And then the other thought, remember, in training camp was, let's take a Pro Bowl guard and Joe Bitonio and turn him into a mediocre left tackle. This took care of that.
Right, but you said they didn't allow any sacks. That's now Freddie Kitchens' offense when he became the coordinator at that point. So that's good news. That
is good news. And also Baker Mayfield, I remember after the first game that Robinson started, he made this pitch to us in the media after the game. He did unsolicited. He said, Greg Robinson really settled that thing down at left tackle or whatever. Well, it's important what he thinks, too. Not that he's coaching a team, but he needs to trust the left tackle to keep those guys off of him and not to jump off sides all the time like Desmond Harrison was doing.
All right, so that all being said, the Browns at the Combine, what should they be looking for?
Well, first of all,
not necessarily names, but...
Yeah, well, all right, you could, in terms of you want to draft an offensive lineman, you don't have to take them high. You could take them lower and develop them. That's number one. Secondly, linebackers and more linebackers this team needs. Linebackers for the most part, were slow, and they missed an astounding amount of tackles. I mean, Jamie Collins and Joe Schobert were number one. Basically, between the two of them, they missed 46 tackles. And Schobert was number one in the NFL in missed tackles, according to Pro Football Focus. Collins, number 4.
Can we assume Collins will not be here when the season starts?
I would.
You would assume he would not be here?
Yeah. I think
that's the name that keeps popping up as a guy in danger of losing his position.
Sure, I mean he's got like $24 million left in his contract, only $2 million guaranteed.
Right.
And this wasn't a guy that Dorsey signed, and I'm sure he's thinking I could probably find some guy for $6 million on a one-year deal to do that.
All right, let's take a look at some of the names that the Browns might be looking at the Combine in Indianapolis. Here's A.J. Brown. He's a wide receiver out of Ole Miss. And Terry, just it may be stereotyping, but you would assume Ole Miss will produce some wide receivers.
They might. This guy here is more of a slot receiver than a deep threat. So I'm not really sure, Les, exactly how he fits, and they kind of have that guy in Jarvis Landry.
Right. All right, let's continue on. DK Metcalf up the middle.
No, this guy will be, they will be hyperventilating. I was just looking online about this guy, 6'4", 230. He is huge, Les, and he ran a 4.45. All right, word of caution. After 7 games, suffered a neck injury, didn't play the rest of the year, so they'll have to figure that out.
They'll check that out.
But the big thing, Les, is he's big, and they need a big receiver.
Well, Dexter Lawrence is a name that's been going around. Clemson, they win championships, so they must have players who do that well.
Yeah. We said tested positive for PEDs. Do you think that's really going to stop the Browns?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, it'll stop him if he continues to do it.
Right. If he goes into, this didn't even stop the Browns last year. He goes to the Combine and they call it the idiot drug test.
Right.
Because they've been telling you, that's what the scouts call it. Don't smoke dope before the Combine.
As soon as you get across the Ohio line into Pennsylvania, or into Indiana, don't do it.
But actually got it like 20 days. Antonio Callaway, remember, he did flunk it or a diluted sample. So.
All right, so here's my theory of drafting. That's take the best Buckeye available, and he might be one of the best Buckeyes available.
You don't go too wrong doing that.
Yeah.
Bosa's probably going to be drafted before him, but you don't go very. It is astounding the number of Ohio State players all over the place.
Yeah, and rarely with the Cleveland Browns.
No, although I think Dorsey will change that. Because he took Denzel Ward as a surprise, considered to be too high. So
that is true. All right, those are just some of the names. You're going to hear a whole bunch more, but my guess is, Terry, the Browns fans in general won't be following the Combine as they have in recent years.
No, because
and that's okay.
I mean, really, the fun thing is to talk about is quarterbacks and running backs, or quarterback versus, Saquon Barkley versus whatever quarterback you liked a year ago. How about that? I mean, you go back and you listen now to what Baker Mayfield said at the interview session at the Combine, where he said, I believe I'm the guy that could change the culture in Cleveland. I could really help turn that around. And, it sounded like, okay, fine, but
He did.
he did.
How about Josh Rosen maybe on the trading block now?
Yeah, I guess it depends. That's funny. Kingsbury comes in there and he's supposed to fix Rosen. Now I want to trade him. To me, Rosen had the kind of season most young Browns quarterbacks have.
Yeah, right.
Bad line, gets hurt.
Bad coach.
Bad coaching change. And just a total disaster. And then you go back and you look at it, Les, and you say, well, we don't know. He probably can't play. How do you know?
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know. All right, when we get back, we've got news, Andrew Berry moving over to Philadelphia. How will that change the Browns' style? I don't think too much. What do you think?
No, not at all. Although I'll say this, he did, they were pleased with him. This is a promotion for him.
Which he couldn't have gotten here.
No, not with Alonzo Highsmith and Elliott Wolf. And I'm sure when he sits in the room with those guys, even though they may be interested in what he has to say or whatnot, there's the Green Bay faction over here and I'm over here.
Right, exactly. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Terry Pluto is with us from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. We'll come on back. You can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. Back in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The heart-pounding, fast-breaking action of college basketball is back when the 2019 Mid-American Conference Basketball Tournament returns to the Q March 13th through the 16th, presented by Visit Myrtle Beach. Pulses will rise and hearts will race as the men and women of the MAC put it all on the line. Tickets for the MAC tournament are on sale now at the Q box office, online at theqarena.com, and at all Northern Ohio discount drug marts. MAC Tournament Basketball. Be there.
Birthdays for today. Burt Bell, longtime NFL commissioner, was born in this state. Andy Pafko, outfielder, mostly in the National League. Ron Santo, Hall of Famer. And pediatrician, was born in 1947. Paul O'Neill and Joakim Noah, one of our favorites.
Pediatrician, not so young anymore.
No, that's correct. Remember how much we hated Joakim Noah?
Right. He was there. He was playing for Memphis the other night.
Right.
He actually had a good game against the Cavs.
Right. We'll talk about the Cavs a little bit later. 216-575-0403. We talked earlier about one signing by the Browns, but one signing they didn't get was Rashad Perriman, who I thought did a good job when he came to the Browns.
Here's what I heard. I heard they do want to sign both Robinson and Perriman, and they still may. I was told this quite a while ago that Robinson's agent was much more interested in making a deal with the Browns, and because Robinson made it very clear he didn't want to go anywhere else. He felt that he finally felt that he had a team that believed in him. after his first year, his confidence was shaken. Then he started to get traded. He wanted to come back almost no matter what. Now, I heard Perriman's agent has dollar signs in his eyes, because the guy finally played well, remember, first-round pick. Where if I'm John Dorsey, just like he was cautious one-year deal with for Robinson, the one-year deal, I would want him to do something like that with Perriman, or 1 year and an option to there. So let's see how that plays out. Of course,
which is true, sometimes the agent wants the money, but sometimes the situation is going to be better for the player.
Exactly, and you may get the money later.
Yeah.
All right, Perriman comes back. Think about this. He catches, let's just say 50 passes, 7 touchdowns on a one-year deal. Now
he's talking.
Now you're talking the kind of money probably that he is for playing about 5 good games for the Browns.
Right. I mean, the same questions about him still linger.
Right.
If you don't sign.
He did well, but it's like, did well in the spot duty. He did well, with Baker Mayfield. He did well in this offense. But we're not talking about a guy that you sat there and go, boy, it was a shame he didn't make the Pro Bowl. I mean, let's be real here.
No, but those kind of guys are findable. It's just that we thought we found them. And
the thing about Perriman, that like I mentioned, that Metcalf guy, who I do think the Browns will be looking at 6'4", 230. Perriman's 6'2", 220. He's fast. They need that big receiver, that big target, where Mayfield could just throw the ball up to somebody and they could go get it.
I got a guy under the best Buckeye available.
Yes?
Terrell Pryor.
It would depend on his physical condition. You have to go back and look because he's had injuries the last 2 years. I wrote a column a couple weeks ago that Pryor suddenly realized his agents did him no favors. Remember they walked away from the 4-year, $32 million?
Right. It took the same amount of money to go.
No, he took less.
It took less money to go.
He took a 1-year, make good $6 million contract. Right. And then, of course, he gets hurt, and then it's just been a mess ever since.
All right. We talked earlier in the show about Andrew Berry and what his departure means. Number one, it's a promotion for him. What does it mean as far as the Browns are concerned? Does it solidify? Are they going to get somebody to replace him, or doesn't Dorsey need one?
I heard nothing imminent. I don't think he needs one because probably Alonzo Highsmith had the same job that Andrew Berry would have had, the number 3 job.
Right.
So my guess is no, this is the front office here. I mean, the only way would have been if, say, some people think Elliott Wolf will eventually be a GM. Suppose some team had hired him, then everybody would have moved up. Now, I heard that they were pleased with Berry. They thought he worked hard and he tried to find the type of players they wanted to find. So it wasn't this usual Browns tug-of-war, ego thing.
And I'm going to the owner's office and tell him.
No, it was none of that. And Berry's a pretty smart guy. I wouldn't be surprised less in 5 to 7 years, given how the NFL is starting to do more with younger executives who, live half in the analytics world and half in the football world, that they turn around and he gets a chance to run a team at some point.
Well, he was a Sashi Brown hire.
He was, but he had been hired originally back with the Colts. So that's where he broke in. He was in their player personnel thing for like 5 years.
Right.
He was not just an analytics guy. But, as a Harvard guy in that, he was interested in numbers too.
Does it solidify anything for Paul DePodesta, who seems to survive a lot of things, considering he's not even here?
I think the thing that they do is they take all his data seriously and they look at what they want and they ignore the rest.
Give me an example of something they would accept or have accepted.
Okay, I think what they would look at is probably, like DePodesta would probably run a thing of how many first-round receivers like Perriman have been cut within 2 or 3 years, after their thing, and then picked up, and how many were a success. In other words, why would that data matter? Here's what it would matter, that sometimes a team gives up on them too soon, or the data may show, when they cut them, they were right 92% of the time.
Yeah, right.
I have no idea. I'd like to see that numbers.
Do you think
So it isn't just that this is like, Pro Football Focus and how many times they did whatever. It would be more of, that's what I heard. A lot of times he looks at trends of, how many people. They probably have looked at, I bet he ran some numbers on a guy like Freddie Kitchens, who'd only been a coordinator for half a year or less and became a head coach, and his experience was solely on offense. How did that coach do?
Well, there's not enough sample size.
Well, Andy Reid's one, for example. He was a quarterback coach.
Good point.
Sean, well, he did call
McVay?
play. Sean, yeah, he did call plays. Excuse me, the guy that Bengals just hired, the quarterback coach, Zach Taylor from the Rams, he's never been a coordinator. He's now the head coach.
Right.
So they do it periodically.
Does his DePodesta, does his bailiwick include play calling in certain situations, or is it more on personnel?
I think it's more has to do with sports science and that stuff. And
so
again,
it's not how many
trends.
times if you.
I'm sure they have some numbers. You know, do you want to like the coin toss or go for it on fourth down?
Right.
But a lot of that stuff's sort of readily available anyway. I heard they were really studying kickers. You know, good luck trying to figure that out right now, because the thing that's changed for kickers is when they went and moved the extra point back to make it in effect a 31-yard field goal. Suddenly, these guys melt down left and right like they never did before.
Wonder why that is.
I don't know.
It's a young one. It's not old ones who went with the easy extra point. It's
everybody.
Across the board.
Frankly, it's everybody.
Yeah. Here's another thing.
Yeah.
Some of the Browns kickers that I did some analytical research myself.
Yeah.
Showing where the Browns have been very good and where they've been very bad, and actually they've been extremely good in the kicking department.
Yeah.
Going back to Lou Groza.
Sure.
And there was a stretch where if you didn't, where most of the kickers here had 8 or 10 years to kick. But what's surprising is their percentages aren't as good as you'd think they were.
No.
To earn being kept that long.
Because one thing, it's kind of like quarterback completion percentages. Back when we were younger, if you completed half your passes or a little more, that was pretty good.
It was okay.
It was very good. It's like completing 60-some%. Now 60% is the baseline there, where 70% of your kicks used to be, that was good. Now it's at least 80 to 85%.
Yeah, but some of the Browns kickers were in the 55-60 range.
You know, it just seemed like down back there, they just didn't think about it a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
and they didn't
just
cut you if you had one bad day.
No, and they just kind of went with it. And so that's I mean, now there's kicking camps all over the place.
Right.
They're grooming these guys. All they do is kick. Where before you would just find a pretty good athlete and he could kick too. And like Gary Collins, championship team, 1964. He's a punter.
He's a punter.
Star receiver, and he's a punter.
Well, let me ask you this question: why, to help with the roster space, why aren't there punters and place kickers with one guy doing both?
I think
it shouldn't be that hard.
It shouldn't. The other thing that I'm surprised at, if I had a really good, like Colquitt, who's a pretty good punter,
Yep.
I would make sure every day he's practicing a few extra points at least.
Just in case.
In case my kicker gets hurt.
Yeah.
So you don't turn around. It's like these teams, their kicker gets hurt. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know, did you
know
ever
what?
kick in junior high? I mean, you're running around like that.
My first thought when you said it is, well, of course they have the guy do that. And the more I think about it, probably not.
We've seen it where a kicker gets hurt and he goes out there and then you find out, oh, man, I haven't kicked since college, or I messed around a couple times in training camp. I mean, that guy, what's he doing? How many times can you punt the ball in practice? Kick it. You know, you practice
5
some more
times.
snaps. You know, I don't know, 10, 12. You don't want him kicking 50 times. He will have no leg by Sunday.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Terry Pluto is with us from the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. When we come back, we'll take a look at our Facebook question of the day and much, much more. More sports and less. Levine comes to you exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Naturestone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Naturestone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Plus, it has a higher insulation rating than carpet and is warmer than linoleum, vinyl, wood, or tile.
Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today and get up to 50% off.
Naturestone is the affordable basement floor solution that beautifies your home. Naturestone, the only concrete solution.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday through Wednesday, as well as Saturday evenings with the post time at 6 p.m. Open early every day at noon for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Terry Pluto with us. Let's take a look at our How Come Quickie. Terry, how come pediatricians have little patience for their practices? I don't think you've laughed in 4 years at a How Come Quickie.
Especially when pediatricians have to coach Little League.
I don't know what that means.
Well, you said little patience for their practices.
Oh, okay.
And they are coaching Little League kids after they've been dealing with little kids all day.
Got it.
It's really bad when you have to explain all that because it's not funny.
Right, and normally quickies are supposed to be quick. If you have to explain them, they no longer become quick.
If a quickie is no longer quick, is it still quick?
No, it's not a quickie at all. 216-575-0403. We have a Facebook question of the day. Terry, we want to know what you would give up, if anything, for Odell Beckham. You want him?
Under the right circumstances. Fans forget this guy's had 2 significant injuries in each of the last 2 years.
Right.
They're all caught up on how many he yells at the quarterback, he yells at the assistant coach. I'm a little concerned. He had an ankle problem, and he had a lead missile. That was 2 years ago. In fact, he first heard it in a preseason game against the Browns, came back, and then ended up only playing 4 games.
Okay, we're going to assume that he's okay physically. What would you give up?
Probably a first and a second.
First and a second in the same year?
No.
First 1 year, now second next year.
You maybe a first this year and something down there.
All right. Well, here's some of the responses.
I'm only giving him 1 draft pick this year for him, maybe a future second or something.
Rick May says,
third.
We said, what are you going to give up? He says, hope. He's giving up hope.
Oh, wow.
We have too many needs on defensive and offensive lines to give up draft picks to obtain him. Cleveland might just be too small a town to contain his ego. Jordan Reese says the Browns don't need him. John Dorsey would do better in the draft. Wayne Richard Lyon says great talent usually wins out, but not here. Would rather he stay in New York. The Browns can upgrade the receiving corps with free agents or at the draft. There are other needs that can be addressed. Larry Galvin says our first, one of our third rounders, and one of our seventh. So some don't want him, others do. Peter J. Butler, absolutely nothing. We must develop our own receiving through the draft. Jalen Strong is an example. Hello, Mr. Pluto.
Well, Jalen Strong's coming off an ACL. I wouldn't go real high with that.
Carl St. John, a 2019 second-round pick, 2020 first-round pick, and Duke Johnson. So that's running the gamut.
That is. I mean, and he is a divisive figure. Look, the guy's really talented, and he is good. And in terms of, how he acts, it's annoying, but let's face it, this team's open to suggestions.
Yeah, but one of the problems is it's not like this team in the locker room has a whole bunch of veterans who have won before.
No.
And that's, I think, what you need, unless he comes to his own realization that this would be a good place for him.
The interesting thing, too, is that the Giants signed him to a 5-year, $85 million contract, and less than a year later they want to trade him.
Well, what does that tell you?
Well, sometimes you give a guy a dumb contract, and you go, why do we give him a dumb contract? Let's get him out of here. I don't think he was any worse this year than he's been any other years. So
if something happens, it wouldn't be a surprise to too many people.
I do know that Dorsey is considering, do you want to do something like a Beckham move? He's not sold on it, but he's thinking about it.
Right.
Now, I would not want any part of Antonio Brown. This guy wants a new contract.
You mean Mr. Big Chest? Mr.
Big Chest. He's going to be 31 or 30, whatever it is, where Beckham's a couple years younger. Beckham signed up.
He has had a great relationship on and off the field with Roethlisberger.
Yeah. Brown did.
He did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's from their point of view, that hurts them.
So
I mean, he's a tremendous receiver.
He is, but also you have to be careful. That guy could be, if you give him a new contract, you're paying him for what he did, not what he can do.
True. You don't care what he did in Pittsburgh.
That thing at 30 years old, you start to worry on these guys. So I mean, all of them come not just with baggage in terms of attitude, but baggage in terms of physical, be it age, or staying healthy. Now, the thing that you do look at what Baker Mayfield did, and it's hard to project all this forward, but all of a sudden he made Rashard Higgins and Brashard Perryman look like receivers.
Right. So you don't need the superstar. You can get a guy who makes it look better.
That's one of the theories there, and you may want to go after some of the people on Facebook said, let's go get that linebacker. Let's go get the pass rusher. Let's get a guy that can stop the run. Let's do that and continue to develop the own receivers.
What's interesting about that, because the way it is now with Baker Mayfield, in previous years you'd want that sexy name or that guy. Now it doesn't. The fans, at least the Facebook fans, are 50-50 on it.
Right. I mean, it seems like Dorsey's approach generally is he might go for sort of one quasi-big name free agent. That's a bunch of guys on 1 and 2 year contracts that he likes. You know, whether there's T.J. Carey or he kept signing everybody named Gaines, Philip Gaines, A.J. Gaines, all these guys. But I know what he likes to do. He likes to pinpoint these guys like Demarius Randall or whatever and go trade for them. That's what he wants to do.
Here's the other thing. You can have a perceived bad guy, bad clubhouse guy. In most sports, you can have one. You don't want to get more than one.
Right. And now, when you look at Kareem Hunt, I mean, Kareem Hunt's problems are exclusively been off the field. On the field, good teammate, all that stuff. But you also, if you're suspended, then you have problems. You're not available.
Do you sense in the people you talk to or hear from that because it's been done? Last week I was on radio on the Monday after the Monday they signed him. And we were talking about Hunt most of the show, and the callers, the ones against it, were saying, that's old news. I mean, in 1 week, it became old news.
Old news, yeah.
So now it's a long time, from his point of view, it'll be old news by the time they hit the field.
Yeah, the question will be how long will the suspension be? That's going to be the big deal there. I mean, John Dorsey really likes these rehab projects, and I'm not just talking about, Callaway, who flunked the drug test and has some problems in Florida, or now Hunt, but also Greg Robinson, who got thrown away, or Rashard Perryman, who they gave up on him,
well,
or Demarius Randall
some of these guys.
In Green Bay. Basically, the Packers just gave Demarius Randall away. They gave him away for Deshaun Kaiser. He's not going to play. Your quarterback's Aaron Rodgers.
216-57. Yeah,
they gave away a starting safety because they thought he was difficult.
Even if Rodgers gets hurt, I'm not so sure that backup quarterback is the right guy.
No, they're immediately shopping for someone else.
Yeah. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Terry Pluto, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer is with us. Bud Shaw, WKYC.com, will be here tomorrow night. The D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, on Thursday. I don't know. We'll find somebody for Wednesday, I think. Or maybe we'll give the crew the day off. No, that's not a good idea. We will take a break, however. Hanley Ramirez signs with the Indians, minor league contract. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/new content posted each and every day. We'll talk about Hanley Ramirez and more when we get back. More sports and less Levine exclusively, right here on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
It takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling to bring the heat when things get chilly. Find us at 440-449-HEAT.
When we're talking to those types of guys during the winter, that's part of the message, is that we know we're going to break camp adding non-roster guys. We've done it every year. It's not held against them. It's a way we're going to build part of our team. And we've got guys like Rayburn and Atchison, and we've had a number of guys that have really helped us not just make a ball club, but help us win games. The job of any manager is you try to put your team in the best position to win. Sometimes that means playing for one run to add on a run or tie a game. You do that. If you have guys that can run, you let them run. If you have guys that can't run and hit the ball at the ballpark, that's what you kind of do. I think with Yonder and Edwin leaving, we're going to have a little bit better team speed than we did last year. And by that, I'm not necessarily just talking about stolen bases, but going first to third and things like that. Because I think in today's game, that's one area where you can separate yourself if you do it correctly.
All right, here's some minor league signings. Deanna Navarro, Ryan Flaherty, Matt Joyce could be an interesting character. Right-handed pitcher out of the bullpen, Alex Wilson, Tyler Clippard, and the infielder just signed over the weekend, Hanley Ramirez. How many of the 2, 4, 6, how many will be on the team when they break camp?
Well, unless Wilson and Clippard have a terrible spring training, they're on.
Okay.
They were absolutely overjoyed to get both of those guys.
Matt Joyce has a chance?
Matt Joyce has a chance depending upon how his back is.
Right.
And I don't like back injuries, but that was the reason he went from having a very good year with 20-some homers in 2017 to last year he just fell off. I barely hit 200 in that.
All right, let's take a look at Hanley Ramirez, who was a terrific ball player up until 2 years ago. He's now 35 years old, 14 seasons in Major League Baseball. His 44 games last year through the month of May, he hit .254 with 6 homers and 9 RBIs. That would extrapolate nice out to the end of the season, but it wasn't going to happen. .290 career average, 269 home runs, 909 RBIs, and he hit well, there you see the numbers. Numbers pretty good until last year and a half or so.
I mean, then the question is, he's gotten heavy and big. Was that the reason? What kind of shape is he in? He did go play winter ball. The Indians did scout him quite a bit. Clearly, he didn't show that much. He was probably like a lot of these guys sitting there waiting for some 2-year contract or something.
Right.
Because he was on the last year of an $88 million contract he had signed with the Red Sox, and they just cut him in June.
Well, part of that, you'd say, well, he wasn't any good, but also the Red Sox wound up did terrific in acquisitions, and they didn't need his bat. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to the Provoker. Provoker, have you been with us since we've been on cleveland.com?
Well, Les, I've actually called, and I started calling this morning, actually, and my internet connection's been buffering.
You started calling this morning, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so, hey.
Don't provoke me.
Right. There's so many roster players on the Indians. Can you tell me who started on the mound yesterday?
I didn't pay any attention to it. Well, they got bombed, right? 11-3 or something like that?
Right.
Yeah. Who did start?
Who did?
Oh, who's on first?
Yeah.
Who did?
Who did start?
I don't know.
That's who it was. It was a guy named
who started? Oh, I get it.
This should have been right in your wheelhouse.
He missed it. He missed it, Terry. He had an opportunity.
Usually I'm the one that doesn't get any of the puns or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it from you, to be honest, Provoker.
Yeah, well,
you're better than that.
Yeah, we were talking about that off the air. My old coach, Augie Basu, would say, "Hell's bells, you're better than that, Provoker." And that was the most foul mouth he ever got.
I do like the Hanley signing from this standpoint, right? So I still think the Indians are going to struggle all year to score runs based on the present roster lineup.
I was more concerned that Marwin Gonzalez signs with the Twins, because that's the guy I wanted for the Indians.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been a great fit for us,
yeah.
But I don't know, what's he getting, $10.5 million a year?
Yeah, Scott Boras had him. Was going to just wait till whatever to get that $10 million a year.
He did well.
Bryce Harper, when's he going to play? July or what?
If Ramirez has anything left in the tank and the Indians fall out of contention, he's the perfect fit for for somebody to deal at the trade deadline, isn't he?
Well, if he puts some numbers up until then, even if the Indians are not doing well.
Well, he
I would expect
winter ball. He hadn't played winter ball since 2013.
Well, he wanted to get back into playing shape. My guess is even if the Indians don't do well, they'll still be fine by the All-Star break. I would think.
What a disaster that would be if they're out of it by the middle or end of July. Oh my goodness!
I can't imagine. Yeah, especially with the All-Star game here and the interest in the team, that'll be a problem. On the other hand, the All-Star game could be a nice spurt for them.
Well, that's true.
Then we would do more spurts and less Levine. Are you listening?
Yes.
I don't think he got it.
Who started?
I don't think he got it.
Who got it?
Never mind.
Who started and who got bombed? Who?
I get it. Thank you for the call. Thank you.
Yes.
I think he's celebrating the 28th year of calling me on radio and TV and cleveland.com.
He's been waiting 28 years for the Indians to sign a pitcher named who?
Yeah. The Dodgers had an infielder named who, and Vin Scully, he walked in one of his first appearances, and Scully says, "I've been waiting 60 years to say who's on first."
He did, huh? That is a good
216-575-0403. I think it's a good deal signing him, and if he makes the team and he's here opening day, fine. If not, thank you for the effort.
Now, most of these guys, by the way, Les, on these minor league contracts, especially named players, I don't know for a fact Ramirez does, but I guess he does because I know Wilson and Clippard do. They have called an out by March 20th. In other words,
they could go to another team.
They could go to another team if they want.
That's pretty standard practice.
Yeah, it is, because especially if a guy's been in the big leagues for a while, and he's here, and then suddenly
you don't hold him up till opening day.
Suddenly, some team has 3 bullpen guys get hurt.
Right.
And Wilson goes in and said, "Am I going to make this team or not?" And they say, "We're not sure." He goes, "Well, my agents, I could walk right into the Twins."
Right.
So
exactly.
Then you get to force their hand. Maybe they say, "No, you're here, Alex. Don't worry about it."
All right. What in the world are the Cavaliers doing to try to mess things up here?
Well, now you see what they sort of dreamed about when they put the team together. Yeah.
And that's without Tristan Thompson.
It's without Tristan Thompson. And the point that both Kobe Altman was making and Larry Drew is that suddenly Colin Sexton, Cedi Osman, they will look better with Kevin Love.
The thing about Sexton is he hasn't had a great year, and you would think he would have hit the wall, but he really has gotten better.
He's relentless, Les, and that's why he's got a chance to be pretty good. He just plays so hard. You see that. And the thing, too, they've got him off the ball some. In other words, he isn't always bringing it up. You see they've had Brendan Knight do it.
Right.
Brandon Knight, excuse me. And so, you find these guys exactly where they fit in the league. By the way, there are very few 8th picks in the draft. I want to say like 2 in the last 20 years or whatever made an all-star team. It's not a great number.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come on back. We'll talk about the Cavs and Zion Williamson and what the Cavs are doing when we get back. Sokolowski's University Inn. They're always the first draft choice as far as I'm concerned. I talk about the Provoker, 28 years. I think it's 28 consecutive years. I've been talking every night about Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, located in Tremont, 5 minutes out of downtown. Plenty of free parking. Best view of downtown Cleveland, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday, and Saturday nights for dinner. We'll come back. More sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Reduce tracked-in dirt, eliminate puddling and salt damage. Plus, Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping.
Call or go to naturestone.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone is the affordable garage floor solution that beautifies your home. Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Let's check out this date in sports history. February 25th, 1964, Cassius Clay, who's changed his name to Muhammad Ali, upsets Sonny Liston to become the heavyweight champion of the world. And Terry, a lot of questions about that fight.
Yes.
Sonny Liston.
I was never a boxing guy, so I don't know.
Well, I wasn't either, but there was great theater anytime Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay was involved. Let's check out this date in Les Levine history. February 25th, 1997, Gus, a veteran umpire in Les's softball leagues, claimed that he claimed for years that he played for the San Diego Chargers. When he made those statements, Terry, he never expected the internet would come along and it would prove that he was lying the entire time.
Boy, if we ever went back in time and looked up people's resumes and all that and cross-checked it, there would be some very red, embarrassed faces.
Gus says he played in the early 60s with the San Diego Chargers. He also was famous for not, from the behind home plate umpiring. If there's a play at second base, he would never run out there with the excuse that you're getting a better call from where he was by the pitcher's mound because his eyes would jiggle if he ran any further. He also didn't figure that one of the players on our team was an optometrist and said that's not possible.
That was like a human internet cross-check.
Yeah. You don't tell a guy your eyes jiggle when you're talking to a renowned guy.
I don't really think you want to. I don't want to think about my eyes jiggling.
No.
The print's getting smaller as it is.
I understand. All right, the Cavaliers, they've got Portland tonight over at the Q, and going for their third straight. Hard to believe in the NBA that they haven't. That you think you could put a team together and go out and win three games if the opponent was the right opponent. Now they play it. This is a quality opponent.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how they play. How much does Kevin Love play?
Right. And the good news is the Cavs can play well and not worry about it because Chicago's playing well also and knocking themselves up.
I guess my thing is, you could drive yourself nuts on this, whether you got the second seed or the fourth seed or whatever. But
there's no guarantee that you're going to get Zion Williamson. That's number one. There's no guarantee that you'll be able to pick the right guy out of the next 2, 3, 4 guys. And
Luka Doncic by far is the best player in the draft. He was the third pick.
Right.
By far. The only guy who made an impact on his team. By the way, Dallas has already won more games since Doncic came to them than they did all last year. The rest of these guys that went to the Suns and whatever, those teams are just stumbling around last year, and they're still stumbling along. Trae Young goes to the Hawks. They weren't very good last year. They may be slightly better this year.
But you still have guys, the experts, who can look at Zion Williamson and say this guy's a no-brainer. There's these guys you can look at also, in addition to Williamson, who, of course, 21.6 points per game. Played 33 seconds the other night and injured his knees. Lucky man. R.J. Barrett, also of Duke. And then you see Morant from Murray State. Not a name you hear much of, but he's got almost 25.5 points a game.
I've seen some highlights of him. Morant is outrageously athletic. And the 10.5 assists. I really haven't checked in. How did that guy ever end up at Murray State? So I don't know.
Instead
if
of one of the bigger schools. Bigger basketball schools.
I will say Zion Williamson to me is one of the better prospects I've seen in several years in college because he actually does sort of play a team game of basketball. And he reminds me of Charles Barkley, only far more refined and skilled than Barkley was at Auburn or even early in his career.
The body type is the same, even though some of Charles is just fat.
Set, right, but both of those guys were incredibly leaping and athletic despite their girth, shall we say.
Yeah, Charles would lead the league in rebounding, and not because he was so heavy and can run over guys. It's because he was so athletic.
Yeah, the big thing if you're a rebounder is how do you move side to side, your lateral movement. Because that it isn't because somebody you could position yourself inside, but the rip goes a step or two this way or that way. A lot of these guys, for example, I like Zizic a lot less as a there.
He shows every once in a while. He looks legit.
He can score inside if they ever ran a low post offense, but he has trouble moving side to side defensively, and that hurts him some. He's just not very quick laterally, and I don't know how you develop that.
All right, speaking of that and running plays for certain guys, they've run guys in and out in trades, so you don't know what you have for the most part.
How about 25 different lineups since the start of the year?
In
25
in almost 60 games or 60 games. All right, how about the coaching situation? What's with Larry Drew? What are they looking at? There were some time that Dan Gilbert did look at Tom Izzo at Michigan State. He's looked apparently at Calipari also. Is he going to go that route, or is he going to go? I mean, is he going to make a splash here, or is he going to take a quote basketball guy?
I mean, the interesting thing to me was if the Cavs play reasonably well the rest of the year, tell me why you want to fire Larry Drew.
I don't think you would.
Yeah, because you're saying you finally have, as Larry Drew would say, and he's even kind of saying, well, now I've got some guys to coach, and the roster's not changing every 3 weeks with a trade. Let me show you what, you keep saying, well, let's see what the players can do. It's like, let me show you what I could do with the players.
Well, if he keeps him, he's got to upgrade the coaching staff.
I'm sure he will. You know, I mean, this year was like, we're paying Ty Lue $6 million not to coach.
That doesn't seem right.
And $6 million next year.
That doesn't seem more right.
Well,
any more $6 million you got lying around?
I think the other one, there's one more, but it's not fully guaranteed.
Will that keep him on top when he takes over, when LeBron hires him as coach of the Lakers?
I think generally after LeBron has one coach, he's not real interested in bringing him back. He wants a new one.
That's a good point.
No, you never see. He's never waxed nostalgic about Paul Silas, Mike Brown.
Right, twice.
No, he only had him once.
I know, but he could have.
Could have had him twice.
Yeah, you name it.
I'm trying. David Blatt.
David Blatt, not
Ty
one of his
Lue,
favorites.
None of them.
Let's take a break. We'll come back one more time.
Didn't like the coaches in Miami either.
Right. He liked Pat Riley, though.
Yeah, but he didn't coach them. That's
true. Maybe you should have. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Check the segment of live harness racing Monday through Wednesday, as well as Saturday evenings. 6 p.m. is the post time. Open early every day for simulcast action all around the world. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Terry and I return one more time. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature Stone, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems: unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Call or go to naturestone.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Bud Shaw, I almost said Rick Shaw. Bud Shaw tomorrow from WKYC.com.
That would have been putting the cart before the Shaw.
Right. Good thing I didn't do that.
Yes.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more sports and less Levine, with new content posted every day. You get your picture, we'll get your words, we'll get anything almost anything you want on camera. 216-575-0403, which is the number called by Bill in North Olmsted. Bill, good evening.
Hey guys, boy, I thought I missed you there, Les. I haven't caught up with you the first time. I think
you're back from spring training?
No, I haven't gone. Leaving Saturday.
Okay, good.
Saturday.
Good.
But I got a kick. I haven't heard the name Augie Basu mentioned in decades, and I remember when I was at Collinwood, I used to play against Terry's brother Tom, who played second base at Benedictine, as I recall.
Yeah, he was a real player, unlike me.
You know, it's interesting, and I played against the Benedictine teams and the summer teams that he coaches. Coach, we knew as players at Brush, we knew who the great coaches were. Fred Heinlein and at Shaker and Augie Basu, and there's a couple others around the league. But you played a little extra against them, or my teams did.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't go into statistics, but I remember having a real good game, and he came up to me afterwards, and we lost some extra innings to Benny, and said, nice game. Didn't know who I was, but said, nice game. And seemed like he meant it. But, well, I'm just so disappointed. I remember saying, sometime last year that I thought the Indians should have signed Eric Gonzalez to a long-term contract, and then they went ahead and traded him. And I thought at the time of the trade it was a big mistake. Because he was a right-handed bat, could play all infield positions, could even play the outfield. And, boy, he'd look good on the team right now, I'll tell you.
Well, you can't predict injuries. You can't predict a lot of things. So those are choices. You don't know what the contractual obligation was, so a lot of things come into play.
Well, he was on a minor league options. That was one. And the other is, this is kind of I always call those sort of prospect trades, Bill. For example, the Indians trade Yandy to Tampa Bay, and they take Bowers back. Well, let's see which front office was right. Same thing here, Eric Gonzalez and Luplow. You know, the Pirates used to really like Luplow. They've kind of soured on him now. The Indians do. And Neil Huntington, who used to be with the Indians, of course, he really likes Gonzalez.
Well, I still think he may not be the player Ramirez became. And hopefully
I like him. I'm with you, Bill. I like Gonzalez.
Yeah. Well, we'll follow him and see what happens.
I guess the question will be, if Luplow comes in there and he becomes a pretty good, even part-time outfitter, 250, 300 at bats, right-handed bat, then okay, that worked.
All right, Bill.
I'll be curious to see what Matt Joyce does. He was a teammate of my son's when he was down in Tampa, and I thought he had a pretty good bat then, but of course that was quite a while ago.
Yeah, well, he had a good year 2 years ago at Oakland. He did. I think he had 20-some homers and about 260.
All right, Bill, we got to go. Thanks so much for the call. I mentioned Fred Heinlein at Shaker, the late Fred Heinlein. And in those days, we would play their team so many times, not just the 2 times you played them in the league in high school, but we were in summer league, so we got to know everybody pretty well.
Didn't he coach basketball too?
I believe he did.
Yeah.
But he was also a great judge of talent. And I'll tell you how I know that. He was coaching third base once, and I was playing third base, and I'm yelling. I'm doing whatever I do as a bench jockey on third base. And finally, Heinlein said at the end of an inning, I'm trotting off, and he ran by him, and he says, "Levine, you talk a better game than you play." So I thought he was a great judge of talent.
He knew exactly where.
He says, one day you're going to be a sports talk host.
That's exactly right.
You're not going to play the game very, very much longer, so enjoy it while you can.
I guess it's like Coach Basu taught me how to sit on the bench and watch a game.
Exactly, and what to look for. All right, that'll do it for us. Great to have Terry Pluto with us, 10-time Sports Writer of the Year in the state of Ohio with the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. Tomorrow night it'll be Bud Shaw. We will see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.